Right, hello. Welcome back. Just wanted to quickly touch on one particular aspect called human capability sets. And what we want to talk about today is really how do we create a more rounded individual. Now, for quite some time I've been talking about the concept of multiple disciplines not creating coherency in an organization. In other words, they pull apart. So strategic planning, the handoff down to business planning, there is fragmentation that begins there. Business planning, the handoff down to business architecture, fragmentation begins there. Human-centered design that focuses on the people aspect, as they pass it down to the technology and process teams, there's fragmentation that begins there. So I believe that the future belongs to those that are multidisciplinary in nature. Well, the way to create multidisciplinary individuals is to really look at a full set of capabilities that really stretch across the doing and thinking parts as well as the internal and external aspects. So as we move through this course, we'll actually be touching on a few of these pieces. So what you have here in the top left corner is predominantly what is referred to as mindset, right, which is an internal and a thinking component. And this is all about beliefs, your perspectives, your orientation, the things that ground you that are quite intrinsic in nature, right? And really these are the things that are the underlying motivators, and we see that often when we're trying to deal with solutions like gamification. Is you actually these are the pieces that you're trying to affect. You're actually trying to find out what those intrinsic drivers are, and those are the ones that you want to affect. So mindset and how we approach a problem really also brings with it a whole bunch of assumptions and beliefs that we bring to a problem space. And the point of design sometimes is that we have to park those and get them out of the way. Right, your next one is the knowledge set. Right. And this is more the external and the thinking bit. Now this is things like language. You may have heard me talk about the knowledge funnel and heuristics, theories and principles, those types of things. So the knowledge funnel, for example, we kind of said at the top here was a wicked problem which sat at the top. And then in the middle here was heuristics, and here was where we convert it into an algorithm. So really the knowledge set is where we take those beliefs, and along the way, everything that we discover through process of connecting with individuals and reconstructing stuff, we start to form a knowledge set, a set of heuristics that we now begin to apply. When we look at a problem, we're like, oh, if A plus B equals C, it's kind of worked for me in the past, this is what I'm going to apply. That's actually what makes you successful. That's what makes one person better than the person next to them, is the types of heuristics that they've built up over time. So a knowledge set is particularly important, but it is strongly driven by your mindset. Right now, what you've got on the bottom left is the skill set area. Right? And let's finish this off here and put the tool set in. So the skill set is really all about your practices, the general routines that you apply, things like capabilities that you might have, or competencies that you actually might have that you might particularly work with. So you might have competencies that relate to your ability to do problem solving, your ability to interact at a personal level with people, your ability to be very analytical. All of these things are competencies that you're strong and weak at, and that's really what makes up the skill set section, but it is an internal sort of capability. And then also just finishing off in the tool set space, and this is, you know, almost I won't call it the lowest common denominator, but we do tend to rely a lot upon methods and tools and processes and frameworks and those types of things, and those are all the pieces that sit down here. And that's really what's happened, is you've taken something like your heuristics and you've codified them into highly repeatable tool sets that you can use. And that's in effect what I'm going to be teaching you in the design course, is a whole bunch of tool sets. But it's not also the tool sets, we also need to use those tools in actual fact through the lenses of skill sets and knowledge set to actually begin to try and solve a particular problem. But when you approach this particular space, you must be aware of things like, well, what is your mindset? Because they can drive a lot of assumptions that you might actually bring to the table when you're even interviewing somebody and you're writing research questions and interview questions, all right, as well as your knowledge set. You know, those heuristics that you've learned over time, sometimes they don't work anymore, and you actually need to learn how to break them. And you want to break them and almost start from a new canvas. So even in your design teams, you want to be able to identify who's holding these heuristics and can we actually move them to the side. And then in your skill sets and tool sets, well, we're working on a skill set now, you're learning something new, and I'm teaching you how to do certain things, but I'm also going to be showing you a few tool sets. So this is really what we talk about in human capability sets. Kind of creates a whole whole view of the individual. This is the type of, the future belongs to people like this, those that can shape and mold different quadrants here. Your ability to affect change in each of these quadrants is going to make you better than the person next to you.